You're standing in front of a language that doesn't relate to any other language on earth. Not Spanish, not Chinese, not Arabic, nothing. It's so alien that during World War II, one military used a similarly complex language as an unbreakable code because the structure itself was the encryption. Today we're counting down the 10 hardest languages on the planet. And here's the thing, you've probably heard of most of them. Japanese, Arabic, Mandarin, but the language at number 1, most people have never even encountered it. And when linguists first tried to map its grammar, they realized it operates on principles that almost no other human language uses. But before we get there, I need to show you why each of these languages earned its spot on this list, because the obstacles they present reveal something fascinating about how language itself works. Let's start at number 10, Icelandic. Here's what makes Icelandic brutal. It's a time capsule. While most Germanic languages evolved and simplified over centuries, Icelandic stayed frozen. It retains case systems and verb paradigms that English abandoned 1,000 years ago. You're not just learning vocabulary. You're learning how to decline nouns through 4 cases, conjugate verbs through dozens of forms, and navigate grammatical structures that feel like archaeology. But here's the wildest part. Iceland has an official naming committee. If you want to name your child, that name has to conform to Icelandic grammar rules. Even personal names get declined based on their role in a sentence. Imagine your own name changing spelling depending on whether someone's talking to you or about you. That's how deeply grammar is embedded in this language. Number 9, Polish. Polish hits you with 7 grammatical cases and a gender system so detailed it splits masculine nouns into 3 subcategories: masculine personal, masculine animate, and masculine inanimate. You're tracking whether a noun is a human man, a living creature, or an object, and adjusting every adjective and verb accordingly. Then there's pronunciation. I don't speak Polish, so I'm not even gonna pretend like I can say this right, but essentially, consonant clusters like wz, zzz, and pz aren't just hard to say, they're hard to hear. And here's something that most people don't know. Polish has mobile stress. In many words, the stress shifts depending on how the word is inflected. So even when you think you've mastered a word, conjugating it can completely change where the emphasis lands. On to number 8, Arabic. Arabic isn't just one language. It's a linguistic phenomenon called diglossia. Diglossia for the editor. Modern Standard Arabic is what you read in newspapers and hear in formal speeches. But in daily life, people speak one of many regional dialects: Egyptian, Levantine, Gulf, etc., etc. And here's the problem. Some of these dialects are mutually unintelligible. Then there's the structure itself. Arabic uses a root-based morphology system. Putting this another way, words are built by taking a 3-consonant root and inserting vowels to create meaning. It's like learning a whole new way to think about vocabulary. Now, if you're watching this because you're trying to figure out which language to learn, or maybe you're stuck in your current one, I want you to know something. Every single language on this list has been learned by people who aren't native speakers. The difficulty isn't a wall, it's just a bit of a longer road. And if you want a clear, structured path to conversational fluency in any language, even a difficult one, check the link in the description. I've built a system that takes serious learners from 0 to conversational fluency in just 200 days using principles that work across any language. But more on that later. Let's keep going. Number 7, Russian. Russian comes at you with 6 grammatical cases, and just when you think you figured out the verbs, you realize each one has 2 forms, perfective and imperfective. These aren't tenses, they describe whether an action is completed or ongoing. And choosing the wrong one changes the meaning of your entire sentence. Cyrillic looks approachable at first. You learn the alphabet, you think you're set. But many of those letters represent sounds English doesn't have, and their pronunciation changes based on position. Here's the detail most learners miss. Russian's verbs of motion. In English, we say go or walk. In Russian, you must choose based on direction, speed, intention, and whether the action is repeated or one time. There are dedicated verbs for going somewhere on foot once versus going somewhere on foot regularly. I've been told that even native speakers occasionally mess these up too. Number 6 on our list, Hungarian. Hungarian is an agglutinative language, which means that it stacks suffixes onto words to encode meaning. It has somewhere between 18 and 20 grammatical cases depending on who you ask. One English sentence can become a single legally correct Hungarian word by just adding suffixes. But here's the trap. Hungarian has vowel harmony. If the root word has front vowels, the suffixes must use front vowels. If it has back vowels, the suffixes must also match. Your brain is doing real-time phonetic matching for every word that you build. Number 5, Korean. Korean's challenge isn't just grammar, it's social grammar. The language has multiple speech levels, and choosing the wrong one can be anywhere from awkward to downright offensive. Your verb endings, your vocabulary, and even your sentence structure change based on who you're talking to. And here's the part that most textbooks will gloss over. Korean has dedicated verbs of wearing. Different verbs depending on whether the clothing you're wearing is on your head, your feet, your hands, your torso, or your face. And these aren't optional distinctions. They're required. If you say wear the wrong way, native speakers will instantly know that you're a basic learner. Number 4, my personal favorite, Mandarin Chinese. As many people know, Mandarin is a tonal language. The same syllable, ma, can mean mother, hemp, horse, or scold, depending on the pitch. Your meaning isn't just in the sound you make, it's in the melody. Then there's the writing system, something I'm admittedly not very good at. No alphabet, no phonetic shortcuts, you're memorizing thousands of unique characters, each one a small puzzle of strokes and radicals. But here's what trips most people up even after they've learned the characters: the measure word system. In Mandarin, you can't just count things. You need a classifier. One book isn't one book, it's one flat object classifier, book. There are hundreds of these classifiers, and choosing the wrong one sounds deeply unnatural. The grammar may be simple, but the logic is not. Number 3, Navajo. Navajo is verb-centric. Most of the meaning in a sentence is packed into the verb, which undergoes extensive morphological changes. The verb alone can encode subject, object, tense, aspect, mood, and more. And here's the historical proof of Navajo's complexity. Navajo was used as a code language during World War II. There was no written dictionary. The structure was so alien to outside linguists that even with recordings, it was nearly impossible to crack. Number 2 on our list, Japanese. Japanese uses 3 writing systems at once: kanji, hiragana, and katakana. You're switching between them in the same sentence, sometimes in the same word. Kanji, which is borrowed from Chinese, can have 5 or more readings for a single character. Which one you use depends on context, surrounding verbs, and sometimes just convention. There's no rule. Then there's keigo, honorific speech. It's not just polite language, it's a completely different vocabulary and grammar system depending on who you're addressing. The word for to eat changes. The word for to go changes. Everything shifts. And it doesn't just shift a little bit. Eat goes from taberu all the way over to meshiageru. As you can tell, very different. But here's the thing that haunts learners. Even after years of study, you can encounter a kanji you've seen hundreds of times and suddenly realize it has a reading you've never used. Absolutely wonderful language, but you're never actually done learning Japanese. Which brings us to our final spot, number 1. In my view, the hardest language in the world. This language uses a grammar system that almost no other language on earth uses. Instead of treating subjects the same way, it splits them into 2 categories based on whether the verb is transitive or intransitive. So the subject of I run behaves differently than the subject of I throw the ball. It's called ergative absolutive grammar. And that's not even the hardest part of number 1. This language has a locutive agreement. That means the verb changes from not just based on who or what you're talking about, but based on who you're talking to. If you're speaking to a man, the verb looks one way. If you're speaking to a woman, it looks another way, even if that person has nothing to do with the sentence itself. Without further ado, our top hardest language is Basque, Euskara. Spoken in the Basque country, straddling the border between Spain and France. And it's a language isolate, the last surviving member of a language family that predates the arrival of Indo-European languages in Europe. And its verb system is so complex, so layered with information, that a single Basque verb can encode the subject, the direct object, the indirect object, the tense, the aspect, and the gender of the person that you're speaking to, all in a single word. That's why Basque sits at number 1. Not just because it's hard, but because it requires you to think about language in a way almost no other language on earth does. Now, here's the question I want to leave you with. Why does this matter? Because every one of these languages has been learned by non-native speakers, people who started at absolute zero. The truth is, the difficulty of a language doesn't determine whether you'll learn it or not. What determines success is whether you have a structured approach that builds comprehension first, delays output until you're ready, and keeps you consistent long enough to break through the intermediate plateau. Lucky for you, that's the system that I've spent years refining. And if you're serious about reaching conversational fluency in any language, whether it's on this list or not, I want to help you out personally. Go ahead and take a look at the link in the description. I work directly with serious language learners to take them from zero to conversational fluency in just 200 days. Because here's the thing, hard languages aren't impossible languages. They're just the ones that reveal how powerful the right method can be. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's top 10 list of the hardest languages to learn as far as I'm concerned. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.